Well, if this is not abusive, I don't know what is. So before the end of his or her day, I'm not sure, Devin, I think is a guy name usually, I got this email. Dear Martin Parizeau, I would like to inform you that moving forward, we will no longer be responding to your requests and or inquiries during the duration of your pause in Work BC services, which, as noted, expires on August 11, 2023. At that time, you can contact the center manager or me to discuss Work BC standards expectation guidelines with you prior to resuming services. Hey, how does Jordan B. Peterson get so much support for what he claims to be abuse when the College of Psychologists of Ontario are just doing their job? These guys don't want to do their job and they don't want to answer my questions, and they're kind of getting insulting. So let's check this out. This is a reminder, but they want to review the standards expectation guidelines with me prior to resuming services. And again, it's what I wrote in the last email, which kind of describes that they are again abusing me here. It's like, hey, we are punishing you, and you better come back with your tail between your legs. Otherwise, we have the power. We keep getting the paychecks for this to abuse you. And I've told already the BC Ministry of Poverty Creation, stop sending them money. They just launder money to themselves. I never get anything, and I put hours and hours of work. And I've told them to refer me to the Opportunities Fund so I can deal with the federal program, because Work BC has mostly wasted my time for years and years. I send this to the BC Ombudsperson's office, who no longer years ago could accomplish their own duties because, well, cultures are breaking. They're falling behind, and as much as they could find reasons not to meet with me like these guys or to follow up with a case because they say, oh, there's an exception on this because, your eyes are not the right color or whatever it is. They keep getting their paychecks, people, for doing less and less of what the plaque on the wall where their office is states the opposite. But anyways, that's your proto society. This is a reminder that during this pause in services, you will be unable to access the resource area at the Trail, Castlegar, Nelson, Work BC offices remotely or in person, as you will be asked to leave. I appreciate your attention to this matter and wish you the best in your employment search. I'll be asked to leave offices I've never been in before because this person that I don't think I've ever met has decided to be a bully. If you require assistance with printing or using a computer while your service is at Work BC are paused, you can visit the Castlegar Public Library, which is located at, if you are struggling and require support, the Kootenay Boundary Regional Crisis Line is available 24 hours to take your call. So this is like maybe a mental health crisis or drug crisis referral that they're giving me of an 800 number to go borrow a phone if I want to kind of talk about the abuse from Work BC. I guess I don't know. It's insulting. And again, I can read things I've sent them before here so that you can see what I'm dealing with. Here are some of the things they haven't answered before, and then you'll know. Of course, the Ombuds offices don't answer either. So here's what I wrote on February 6th. Devin, a form needing to be filled out should not be required among those who have undergone their maturation process for roles such as public servant and or, properly written, service providers recipients in relation to workforce service funding, which your offices benefit from due to my being a local resident. Therefore, do you and or the center manager in Castlegar believe that I require special training in relation to life skills, emotional intelligence, or critical thinking before attempting to enter the labor force and its related cultures as well? In essence, do you believe that I will only be fit for the labor force through some 12-month miracle in August 2023? If not, then do you believe that after 12 months of being a victim of Work BC enforced barriers to employment through additional supernatural occurrences that do not fit my own beliefs, because the manager there wears a cross, I don't know about him, if he goes to the same church, if it's a him, that I will have a different opinion of what has occurred between your offices and myself 1 year later? Nope. I have a very particular opinion about what happened. And again, there's a lot of money laundering because my file exists and I get nothing and they get paid their salaries to waste my time. And again, when they refer me to do, photocopies at the library, no offense, but I'm pretty sure that I'll have to pay money that the government pays WorkBC, and WorkBC is not offered to pay for these photocopies at the library. So again, another example of money laundering and abuse. Human rights violations. When your very demeaning punishment to me, a free thinker, expires, will your offices then be able to provide services of quality to my own person? When in fact, and as previously discussed during my own first consultation in Castlegar, no WorkBC offices has ever successfully done in the past, as evaluated by client-centered choices and not self-serving choices. The next vlog after this, because it's going to be too long, I'll write the questions that I asked them last time, which asks them to explain why I didn't hear back from the employer that they sabotaged, or I was going to move out of this area, where they could have gotten rid of me, but no, they sabotaged that job. As you seem to be the one playing these cruel games with me while I attempt to dialogue and also ask questions which you refuse to answer, see thread within this very email, so that means the BC Ombudsperson's offices have that information, while financially profiting from such abuse of my person. Should I just consult with legal aid instead, as then you would certainly not be able to deny my ability to confront my accusers and abusers through strategic questioning with a legal aid representative present. And again, legal aid is pretty much a myth. Very few people actually get the help that they require from such services. Please advise me of, and BC Ombudsperson's offices, you should explore this legal aid thing. Do some research about that. Please advise me of my own legal rights, if any, in these matters. So when they say you're banned, we don't want to talk about it anymore, and you do things our way, otherwise, we recommend you call an 800 number, but it's really probably them panicking because I'm living a transparent life and talking about their failures. So maybe they looked it up for themselves. I don't know. I can deal with their own failures as people primates, as the Homo communia, but it is kind of insulting. But again, I live a transparent life, so my conscience is so healthy compared to theirs. I don't really need an 800 number. But are you saying that once both yourself and the center manager speak your own piece to me in person, that you will now stop withholding services from me, which you have also been receiving benefits for during this entire time? The reason I keep saying this is because I've asked the BC Ministry of Poverty Creation. I have recordings again of me saying to them I can't access WorkBC because they have issues with me being a thinking person, and they don't even want to address it. They want to just ban me. And again, I've been banned many places, and I don't hear from their lawyers because they know that if their lawyers contact me, they would get in trouble from what I catalog. Now, do I want to have 12 court cases going every freaking year because I live in Canada and it's such a failed proto-society? No. But the transparent life is a way to say, this is you, this is me, and part of the evidence is there. And if ever Canada wants to say, hey, we kind of don't want to treat Martin like this, or BC, then a lot of the evidence is already online. Although I am making many of my videos in the current year unavailable to be seen online unless I send a link to somebody. Again, there's a strategy for that when the time comes. A lot of evidence is already posted, and it's therapeutic for me to share transparently the experiences I have with the 99.98% of you that suffer from all of these varieties of human domestication syndromes, where you are no longer able to find the humanity inside of you and live by human standards and respect other people's human rights. Are you also prepared, if we meet in person, that I may be of a different opinion than yourself concerning our interactions? Or do you expect that I will keep my head down, accept to have my voice further taken away from me, refrain from advocating for myself, and or also to refrain from pursuing damages and reparations for these actions on your part. Are you not aware that this is not about having access to printers, but instead for the defense of my own human rights as a unique individual, and also for the long overdue of cultural repair with Work BC? Sincerely, Martin Parizeau. With this link, I include a short video vlog filmed for you. Okay, so it's been viewed at least 20 times, although I don't know if it's been viewed the entire 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I don't know. I'd have to look at the stats. But I know somebody's watched it or tried to watch it, and it could include the BC Ombudsperson's offices, which I have not heard back from yet. And of course, when they do, they just say, we got that information if you want to start a file. And then they're going to think I'm not doing a good job not starting a file with the BC Ombudsperson's offices, except that I do start files. And the last time I was considering starting one, I said, do you know about my last file? And they couldn't get it. They couldn't find it. I said, this is against Vancouver Island University, and it falls under your criteria for these reasons, although there's many other reasons. You don't close the file just because you find reasons where it doesn't fall under the BC Ombudsperson's offices, because all these other ones you claim fell under. So who's supposed to do it? Nobody? Again, I have to get a lawyer because there's no government agency that protects me from other, in BC or in Canada organizations. I mean, let's say I got abused by a Chinese police officer at a place I thought it was a restaurant. It's a Chinese police station. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get any help from any government officials in BC or in Canada there. So I'll have to deal with things myself and just live a transparent life. I have filmed a video in the past that says that, the Chinese government owes me 2 apologies for these 2 things. And I say, be careful, because, I might get annoyed with some of the things that you guys do around the world. And then what I'll decide to do independently, as an independent Homo sapien living among you, is I might decide to do a citizen's arrest with one of your diplomats or officials here in Canada, or when I'm traveling, make a video of it, and then release them. And then you can say, well, what happened? Well, I'm putting it on the internet. I just arrested you because you're a government official. And if you get on my nerve, you are representing the Chinese government. Now, eventually, I might even decide to do this, start arresting people that work for the BC government or the Canadian government, because I've posted so much. I've posted that I went to Norway to ask to stay there with data of how I've been treated in Canada, and they send me back here. And I got so many skills. So can you imagine people that are refugees with extreme trauma moving different places? And many of you think, oh, they'll be all right. They're leaving the bombs exploding, or the fires, or the no food, or the violence, or whatever it is. Well, no offense, but they're going to places that just appear to be more civilized. Just because, there aren't bombs falling doesn't mean it's more civilized. Again, I know people that want to come here, and good for you. I mean, even if it's better in your country than it is in Canada, it might be that it's a good fit for you where you end up and who you interact with and what your standards are. But again, people, I don't want to change my human standards. I want to be who I am. I want to be genuine. And I want to pay consequences when I deserve to pay consequences, not when I make you feel uncomfortable for your lack of humanity.